Hello everyone, welcome you back for the sessions on the multiple cylinder application or multi-cylinder application. Here in this case we are discussing with respect to the motion control diagram, coordinate motion control diagram, and also sequential motion control diagram, and also what we can say the cascading control action. This entire thing we are discussing in this session. Now, before going in depth with respect to what we can say, the either it may be a coordinate motion, or it may be a sequential operation, or it may be a cascading. The most important and also the practical implementation of this, it should be a feasible one. Now, as you know that the multi-cylinder application, the special pneumatic circuits are designed using the various DCVs and also a logic functional gate systems, or it may be a logic function valves, or in some cases we are not at all using the logic functions. Only by using the DCVs it is very easy to control the entire mechanism. The first one is nothing but a coordinate motion, the second one is nothing but a sequential motion, and the last one is nothing but the cascading motion control diagram. In the previous class, what we discussed a small introduction with respect to the motion control diagram with respect to the cylinder A and as well as cylinder B. There we are using, the one is a horizontal cylinder, the another one is a vertical cylinder. If I start discussing with respect to that, it is very difficult to analyze it. Now here it has been represented by means of what we can say a circuit diagram. A compressed air, it is passed through the what we can say the FRL. The after the FRL, a two lines is connected. One line is for the cylinder A, the another line is for the cylinder B. Now the control of the cylinder A and as well as cylinder B is done by using the DCV1 and as well as DCV2. The DCV1, which is having a A1 and as well as a A2, or it may be the A plus and as well A plus and as well as a minus. A0 and A1 is a small letter A0 and small letter A1 is representing a two limiting. These two are representing the what we can say the limiting switches. This is a limiting switches for the cylinder A, and these two are the limiting switches with respect to the cylinder B, and this one is nothing but the inlet position, and this one is nothing but the outlet position of the cylinder A, and this one is nothing but the inlet position and as well as the outlet position of the cylinder B. Now with respect to the what we can say this motion control diagram, I explained clearly in the previous sessions. Now here the entire mechanism, or it may be the movement of the cylinder, sequentially it is done by using sequentially is represented by means of a motion control diagram. See the A plus once if the A plus is or the cylinder A is under extension stroke, the cylinder B it is under idle means it is at the B1 position only. Once if the cylinder is reached at the point A2, then what will happen, the extension of the what we can say the B1 of the cylinder B is taking place, and then it is reaching to the point B2. Once if it is reaches to the point B2, then afterwards the cylinder A will retracts to the normal position, which is nothing but a A1. The same way at that particular point, this what we can say the cylinder B it will be idle. See, this is what we can say the movement of the cylinders with respect to the motion control diagram. The limit switches are operated once if the extension is taking place at that point of the cylinder A. The small letter cylinder A1 is touching it, automatically it will switches off. Then the B1 will starts working it. Once if the B1 starts working and if it touches at that B1 limiting switch, then this cylinder it will be cut off. Like that the process is, it's a continuous sequential motion it is taking place. See, that entire controlling that mechanism is done by using the limit switches A0, A1, B0, B1. See here in this case, as we know that this is something like a double acting cylinder. There should be a 5 by 2 way DCV wall and also 3 by 2 way DCV wall. Now here in the cylinder B and also cylinder A, there are two different walls are there. One is nothing but a 5 by 2 way wall and also 3 by 2 way walls. These are in turn connected to a main line, which is where the air is flowing through the FRL. Once if this one this air is passing through here, if this one is under closed position, which is nothing but the B naught. Okay, then afterwards this it will be open. Once if this one will be open, the air is flown inside, then the extension is taking place. Once if the extension is taking place, at that point A1 is the cylinder is once if the cylinder is extending it is touching to the limiting switch A1. At that point the cylinder it will be under stable, then again this it will be working it, then the same way this it will be under moving it. This once if this is moving and it's touching the point B1, the action of the what we can say the A1 A2 to A1 is taking place. See here in a simpler way, if you want to say that once if the cylinder is under extension stroke, at that particular moment the cylinder B it will be under idle position. Once if it touches to a limiting switch A1, automatically this B1 will start the cylinder B will starts working it. The same way in a continuous manner both the cylinders will be starts working it. But here in this case, once if it starts working it continuously, there are what we can say the two signals will be there. One is nothing but a maintained signals from the limiting switches wall can be eliminated. See, the maintained signal is nothing but a trapped air. The small amount of the trapped air it will be there in the case of the cylinder, that it has to be removed by using what we can say a pulsed signal, resulting in a no trapped signal. See, this it can be done by using what we can say a pulsed signal in the circuit. The signal elimination can also be achieved by using a one-way trip or by means of a idler roller wall. See here in this this one is nothing but a trapped signal and this one is nothing but a maintained signal. These signals it is removed by means of another signal which is called as a pulsed signals, which is generated by means of either by means of a B naught and or it may be it is by means of A1. See, by generating the what we can say the pulsed signal, the trapped signal, or it may be the maintained signals, it can be eliminated. Now see this circuit, by looking into this, the circuit it is little complicated. Now here in this case, instead of going for such a complicated circuits, the next part what we are doing is nothing but the grouping of the circuits. The grouping of the circuits it can be done and it can also be called as a cascade control action. Now going forward to the cascade control action, first we have to know the cascade circuit design. Once if you design the cascade circuit, then afterwards grouping can be done very easily. See, this one is a start position, this one is a A plus of the cylinder A, that it is controlled by means of A1, and then afterwards again the B plus will start working it, that is controlled by means of a B1. This put together is nothing but a 1. Then again the group 2, the B minus is controlled by means of a B naught, and again B naught is in turn is connected to what we can say the A1 is to the A naught. Then afterwards this from here again it is nothing but the what we can say the group 1. Now the entire thing it can be grouped in a different two lines. One is nothing but a group 1 and as well as group 2. That schematic diagram is as shown here, where the what we can say the 3 by 2 walls are placed. The 3 by 2 walls are placed as per the what we can say the cascade circuit design.